I know I want to connect with people. I mean, I know that I don't naturally do that, but I know that the type of information that I've sort of hoarded into my own mind, it's reaching this sort of breaking point where it seems amoral to hold it unto myself. Because I see this world changing and I'm not surprised. I find it predictable. And I find it predictable because, the models and lenses through which I view the world, which is, well, memetics, which doesn't really mean anything to anybody because it's not really a thing. But that's the nature of memetics is the capacity to have meaning and bind it into a word or a symbol. Like the nature of what I call memetics, which is probably other people call some combination of I think semiotics and neurobiology. I mean, it doesn't matter. The point is that this capacity to create meaning and bind it to symbols in our minds is this what is the inherent power that we have. That's the inherent nature of our being is this capacity to manipulate symbols and meaning and connect them. Everything else is sort of just story, narrative, and observation of all of that. It's the evaporation effect when you're talking, like, or you're on a stream of thought. It's like you're following a thread, you're trying to push it outwards from the inside until suddenly it's like, oh, you lost it completely. And sometimes you can find it again. And that process of thinking through and finding the thought again almost seems like your awareness is something physical and what you're observing is something physical in space and the act of thinking is moving through that space and some places in that space have thoughts and some places don't, and that's sort of this idea that you can literally run in your own mind, but maybe you shouldn't, like why would you leave. The idea is when you run your mind, it's because something scary is in there. Why would you leave the scary thing to control what's supposed to be your mind? You're supposed to have, domain over your own mind. And so if you let that fear control you, if you leave that space by running from it, it's almost like it's still there, you know. It's like there is this thing within ourselves that is observing, and there is also this massive structure that is generating things to be observed. And those things which are observed are thoughts, right? And those thoughts overlay this sort of general information field that's coming into the center of our mind. Why is it that the sort of experiences and emotions that our body and minds create for us, the experiencer, can be often so out of sync with our own selves. Like there is this balance and time of coming in sync with your own body. There's a duality there that you have to deal with, and that duality is the fact that, despite the fact that we want complete control or even a little bit control, you know, the control that we have of our own bodies and minds is pretty limited. I mean, I think it's real. I'm not of the school that there is no free will. I mean, um, I just think that there is more of an illusion of oneness within our bodies than there really is. Like there isn't really that much sense of oneness. Um, and what's magical, what's interesting is that speech is the closest that can get to this oneness. It's this oneness in this moment. It's that what I'm communicating right now is the summation of all of the activations within my nervous system. Um, and that summation is different all the time, and you can make different sort of choices to affect how that summation occurs, and you can also make different choices to affect how do you react to that summation. Like right now I'm drinking caffeine because it stimulates my mind and makes me think more, um, but there are many other ways to cause and stimulate the integration of the different parts of your mind. They're all physical memories that are being stored. It's just when you're thinking, they're coming together and forming something new. And whatever it is that is you, the observer within you, is simply reacting to those thoughts.